pushing out Vegas Street.
I just heard what you said. We're live on all fronts.
All right, let me go live too. All right. All right. We are live. I cannot see any comments or anything, but we can get started.
Can you see people coming in?
Not yet. Not on my end, but I feel like we're live on like a couple places. So
yeah, we're on YouTube, LinkedIn, and yeah, 2 social medias.
Okay, and I'm going live on mine too. So let's get started. Hello, everyone who's joining or was on the way to join. Thank you for coming back to our Insta Live, our Sponcast Live episodes. We're super excited about the topic to go over today. But before I go forth, in case anyone's new here, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Lily. I am the founder of the Sponsorship Concierge and also the co-founder of the Sponsorship with Enovia. And we focus on all things sponsorship in between all of the companies that we own.
Basically, I'm Enovia Bedford, as she said, co-founder of the Concierge, founder of VetDeck, which is a technology platform that helps you use data to make better decisions about who you reach out to for event sponsorship, influencer programming, the gamut. Both of us work with really big brands and also really small brands. So we kind of run the gamut. We were in-house for some really cool companies that we all use all the time and know. So we know it from the inside perspective of the people that approve events and cut the checks. And then we also know it from a pitching perspective. And today we're going to talk about sponsorship tiers and why you should not use them.
Yes. I feel like a lot of sponsorship gurus, people, whoever, they kind of tell you to do tiers, but like they may say don't do gold, silver, bronze. They may say like just have like 3 different packages or like some sort of option for people to choose from. While that can work for some people, for us it does not. So I think when you're in the space of sponsorship, especially if you are a person of color seeking sponsorship, you got to do things slightly different no matter what they say to you. Like there's going to be people who are going to teach you to do things a certain way. But we know just from being on the back end of all these companies that as a person of color, the way we have to approach sponsorship has to be slightly different than the way other people do, just because we have to be like, the saying of being like 10 times better than somebody else. We have to make sure that it fits and it makes sense, because unfortunately, I feel like they write you off immediately once they see who's doing the event or once they see who's going to the event. So I guess the first point I'll start off with is one size does not fit all. It doesn't. Every company has different things that they're looking for, different goals that they need to reach. And by you making these 3 packages, let's say we're sticking with the gold, silver, bronze, right? When you're making these 3 packages, this kind of boxes people in to certain things. And a lot of times when the marketers are seeing them, they don't always negotiate. They might just say like, okay, well, we'll take bronze because it's the cheapest. It gets me in and I still get the same access to the same people. You don't want somebody to pick the cheapest thing on your list just because they'll still be in the room whether they pick the cheapest or the most expensive. So what they're going to do is, to save money, they're going to pick the cheapest. So the best way to go about it is making something that's a little bit more custom and making something that fits what their goals are. And another good thing that Enovia likes to highlight a lot is getting them on the phone and talking to them. Enovia is really good at that. So get on the phone and within like 5 minutes, they're talking money. She's asking what they budget and they're saying it. So if you haven't actually talk to them and really hear what they need for the year, because what you think their goal is, it might not be what their actual goal is. They might have maybe an audience they're trying to reach. They might have certain numbers they need to hit, and you need to make something, a package customized for them that fits their goals that they're going for. Because if you can make something that makes sense for them, they can make sense for you when they're going to whoever to make that decision. And I think when you look at the people you end up pitching to, is likely it's going to be like a marketing manager or somebody like that. Yes, they have a budget, but there still has to be an answer for something. They're not the CEO, right? So they need to still make some kind of proof point of why they're going for this event. What makes sense? Why does this event make sense for our company, and how is it going to help our company? Because it can't just be all about you. It can't just be all about what I'm going to get from it. They have to benefit as well. So definitely don't do one size fits all. You need to customize, and customize.
Absolutely. Everything that Lily said. So our partnership came about because we both have very specific skills that like we're really good at. And that is my skill. Like I am going to I'm gonna get them numbers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that number, but it's of course for a good reason. You don't want to leave money on the table. So when you're doing tiers, you put the numbers and the things together in your head. Okay, my bronze is this, my silver is this, my gold is this, my platinum, whatever it is. This is how it looks in your head. That might not fit the brand's needs. So to me, it's always weird that you're pitching people things before you know what they need. Like on the marketing end, we send the overall package of what our capabilities are, but we can't send you a quote until we know what you need. So to me, to send out decks with like, oh, it's wild. It's like scale back, unless you're listing it like, here are all the things we're offering, but not putting it into tiers to say, pick this one, that one, because, for a certain, makeup of folks, honestly, it's very different, right? If you tell me that I have access to Black African-American women between 35 and 60, and you have a $5,000 package and a $25,000 package, depending on the brand I'm with, and depending on who I am, I might just go with the 5. I might just go with the lowest because I'm not seeing that value that you actually bring. So leaving the money on the table. It also limits creativity and innovation. So tiers kind of stifle creativity by focusing on like standard benefits. That logo placement, y'all, please.
So everything logo. Okay. Relax.
We get it. You want to put the logo on, the backseat of your Jeep. You want to put the logo on your baby's forehead. You want to put the logo on everything because you're like, oh, well, there's more to having an activation and on-brand branding as opposed to just a logo. So you really want to have an open approach when it comes to innovating your activation. It can be tailored to specific needs of that sponsor after you have that conversation. You want to engage in experiences that lead to better ROIs for the sponsors. Like yesterday, I was like kind of cleaning out my garage and I found one of my favorite items from a brand. And it's simple, but Cadillac gave out these blankets. I feel like it was like a picnic in the park or something. And you just roll them up and it has the flap and it sticks, right? There is a logo on that, but it's so functional. It's not like a keychain. We got enough hand sanitizers. Like we have all of these things that we don't necessarily need or use, but I'm like, dag, this Cadillac blanket comes in handy all the time, right? So being innovative in the spaces, of course, photo booths, all of that stuff, but really trying to expand what the brand's footprint is and giving them flexibility that's not just like the standard stagnant tiers.
Yep, absolutely. Because a logo never made anybody buy anything. When you think about how these tiers work and what these tiers do, it also doesn't value the actual partnership you're looking to seek from people. When we talk about sponsors, we just think about like, okay, someone's giving me money and then that's it. It's a partnership that's happening here. So a lot of times, especially like on Instagram and all these social media things, you'll see brand partnerships. It's a partnership because two parties have to come together to make something great, right? So when you're doing tiered sponsorships, it's prioritizing just like the monetary contributions, but overlooking some sponsors who could bring in some of their networks, they can bring their expertise, or who are more brand aligned. Because there might be somebody who makes more sense with you, but maybe they don't have the funds to do the $20,000 thing, right? And then the $20,000 thing, someone who doesn't even match your audience probably won't get a great ROI because they're not exactly, the best fit, but they needed to check a box, right? So all they're going to do is check that box because you gave them this short list of whatever they're going to get with that money, and then that's it. But then you have this brand who probably would do amazing with your people, but they didn't have the same amount of money, or you didn't really make something that made sense for them. So even if it's like, even if some brand that doesn't align wants to give you $20,000, I'm not saying don't take it because you're always going to take it, but you need to actually go back to that first one I talked about. It all. You can't have the same package for every single person. You need to customize it for that particular person because it may not be the best fit, but if you're smart, you can make it fit. If you're smart, you could tweak it. You can make it fit. It might be a little bit of, maybe you're hiring a consultant on your end. Maybe you have to do some research on how to figure this out, but you can make it fit. But as long as you're focusing, not doing those tiers. If you get out of that mindset, I'm going to have gold, silver, bronze, and that's it. I'm going to have gold, silver, bronze, and that's it. That's what's going to make it a little bit better for you.
Go ahead. One of the points that you made that I liked was about, just not having it be one size fit all. And again, right, you still want to make an asset list. So I think people are always like, well, I have to separate it into these tiers. You don't. Just make an asset list of everything that you can sell for your event, right? Every single thing. If there are billboards, if there's a stage and you can have stage placement, if you can put things in the parking lot, like whatever it is, make that full list. And then as you talk to each brand, it could be in ours are Google Sheets. That first column, right? We have all of the assets, then we weigh them out and give them prices. So we're like, okay, photo booth, $3,000, VIP lounge, $20,000, whatever it is. And then there are tabs along the bottom that we use for the different brands that we talk to. And we check off, or you can put it across the top, wherever you want to put it. As we go down the list, the things that are important to the brands, the things that they mentioned. Did they talk about sampling? Did they talk about having things in the gift bag? Did they talk about having an actual booth setup? And that's how you figure out the pricing. And you do that as you go along. That's how I know if we're on a call and somebody is like, we have $25,000. And from what they tell me, I could already pick out those 2 or 3 major things that we could hit that can give them what they need, but we can also still profit. So you want that full asset list, and then you're pulling from that because you're going to go top, right? 2024 and beyond, we're going to go the top. We're not going to give you a $5,000 option. Like you could talk us down, you could get maybe one thing for that, but that's not the option that you're leading with. So I think that we can talk about where tiers are appropriate, and that is in-house use. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's it. And the tiers can be broken down, like Lily was saying, it's not one size fits all, right? So your tier that might have been a $5,000 tier, you can craft that for water companies. So your team knows when we're pitching to water companies, here's the thing we're offering, because you're not going to pitch the same thing to a water company that you are to a car company, right? You're going to have on-site samplings and maybe, ambassadors giving things out. So you want to make sure that you're separating, that you have that full list of assets, and that you can, say, all right, well, I'm talking to Cadillac, and I know that, I've seen them do a couple of these things. Let me listen, because we got a problem with listening. We always want to be like, oh, but my event's best, blah, 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 blah. Let's not do that. Let's listen to their needs and then fulfill their needs with that overall asset list that you create.
Exactly. I think that's such great points. And like, let's say you have a pitching team, right? Like Enovia said, you have this, like, let's say you have this water tier list, whatever the water tier is list. You have those assets to plug in if you hear something. Like if you hear them say like, oh, we need to make sure that we get it in people's hands. Maybe that's another option that's on that asset list that you can swap out for something already on the list, or add for maybe an extra cost or something like that. So like Enovia said, you have to really listen to what people are saying, because if you ask the right questions, they will tell you everything you need to know, and it'll be super easy for you to build out your sponsorship packages. So don't go in making tiers. If you do, like she said, make them like your back pocket, like in-house stuff. So if they start talking big money, you know which one you're looking at and which one you're customizing. If they're talking about maybe they might not have the most, you might be looking at the lower tiers, but you're not going to start them with the lower tiers. You're going to start them with the highest you got, and let them talk you down from it, whittle things off so you get to a fair price point for them. But tiers, like presenting that off the bat, like without even a call, just pitch plus the deck is not the right way to go. I'm not a fan of sending the deck on the first go around because they might not even get it. It might go into spam, or it feels a little bit pushy sometimes. So if you could possibly just like ask them at the end, like if they're interested in seeing a deck, you can send that over because you can let them know that you have one. But starting off hot with here's everything, here's the deck, it's a little much. So ease into that.
Ease right on in. So I think we have some time for some questions. Ow. Banged my elbow. Usually I can only see the LinkedIn questions for whatever reason.
I don't see none on my end. And I don't see any.
Let me see if I can go into your live.
Nope. Nothing.
All right, last go for questions. This was a short one today, but tears is something that we see all the time, and we kind of cringe when we see them. And it's in the last 10 years, I've had like I know this one specific marketer request a tiered package, and she was older and on her way out of that office. I was like, why the hell she want me to do this? But generally, I mean, on the marketing side, we want to see customized packages. And that first email is really to just get familiar with the brand. Like, I don't even really like to send links in that first email, honestly, because you don't know if it's going to get through their firewall, especially if you're doing something like finance, any of those kind of things. You might not get through. So sending the link in that first sending a deck in that first email is always kind of wild to me because it's unlikely that somebody's going to see it. So, and also remember that decks are created to be presented.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need a whole bunch of words in them. Like key points, bullet points, keep it kind of as, what is the word?
Concise?
Concise. Yes.
I was like, what are you saying?
I was getting there. Keep it as concise as possible. Your deck should absolutely flow through the history of your company, what you've done, to details about the event, the attendees, your social media, event flow, what you're offering after you talk to them, press, team, call to action.
Yes. And remember, this is event specific. If you're looking for like influencer stuff, that's a little bit different because they're going to want your media kit because they need to see your numbers. But this is mostly for like event, festival, that kind of stuff. Pause on sending the deck, concise email so they can get interested.
Yes. Well, if there are no questions,
we could be out.
I think we're done. We like to keep them short and sweet. 20 minutes on your lunch break.
All right. Well, we will head out then.
Are we going to do good news? We won't do good news this time. We'll do good news next time.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.